Hello, welcome to Meta Perfume. I am Emily, here again today with Trixie. Trixie, she's hiding. Today I'm continuing my series on the Fantasy line by Britney Spears, and I'm going back to the 2006 release of Midnight Fantasy. This is one of the longest running, still produced fantasy flankers, and I'm going to cover it now. So this fragrance, you might be wondering why I'm wearing a purple wig. Because this fragrance is all about plum. The top notes, and I'll put them up here, are plum, sour cherry, and raspberry. And the plum note is the most prominent for sure, but it's complemented really nicely by that sour cherry note and the raspberry note. And I am sort of hit or miss on cherry notes, but this one I think is really, really good in the fragrance. Like, this is definitely a win on the cherry for me, which usually I'm sort of meh. I'd say like 90% of fragrances that have a cherry note, I don't enjoy that note in the fragrance, but in this one I think it's good. It was a good choice. It makes the fragrance really bright. Actually, let me finish up with the notes though. The top notes are plum, sour cherry, and raspberries. I said the middle notes are orchid, iris, and freesia, so a nice bouquet of florals there. And in the base we have vanilla, musk, and amber. So the classic musk note in the base. And I think the Fantasy line is all about sugary, musky, maybe slightly gourmand scents. So I think this qualifies as gourmand because of the fruit, definitely edible top, edible-esque. And I think that this is, the plum note is a really sweet fruit note, so that kind of serves as the sweet, sugary sort of note. There's no specific sugar notes in this one like there are in a lot of the Fantasy range, but the plum and the sour cherry and raspberry on top sort of serve that sweetening purpose, and they do it in a very kind of youthful, bright, you know, fruity way. In a fruity way. So I'm gonna spray a little bit of this. So this, people generally think this is more of a nighttime perfume. Maybe that's just from the name, but I could see it being kind of day and night, and more winter. And I think because the longevity is pretty good on this one, yeah, I like the opening, but you have to like a plum note. So if the question is, do you need a little more plum in your life, or do you like plum fragrances? And the answer is yes, then you might enjoy this one. It's very inexpensive. I found it on, they're selling it now, currently on Fragrance.net for less than $20 if you get the general like 30% discount. I think they have various options, sizes, you know, 1 ounce, 1.7 ounce, 3.3 ounce. They have the regular box version, and they have some testers, and they have an unboxed version that's a 1 ounce, which is the smallest size, for like $8.44 right now, I think. So that's on clearance. It might not last very long, but if you were interested in picking this up, you could definitely get the small size for less than $10 on Fragrance.net at the moment. And this is November 2nd, 3rd? The 3rd. Thursday was Halloween. Friday, yeah, pretty sure it's the 3rd. So, yes. This is also a very youthful, I think it's a very youthful fragrance. I think the note of plum is sort of like a young fruit note, and I don't know why. You have to like plum. You have to like the sour cherry. It's definitely prominent in the sour cherry, and then when it dries down, you still get that top, but just faded a bit, and the vanilla and musk stay for a while. So pretty good longevity. As I said, I think it wears for like 8 hours if you spray it on your clothes. It's definitely not light, which is why people would say it's not bad for winter, not bad for nighttime. So in the cool weather, this will stand up pretty well for being a fruity fragrance, which is unusual. Usually fruity fragrances kind of, you know, they work well in the hot weather because they're not cloying, they don't last very long usually, but this one does. And I guess it's because of the musk and amber and vanilla base that they did. It just works well with the rest of the notes. So yes, Midnight Fantasy, 2006 release. I think this might have been the second flanker. Like they came out with Fantasy first and then Midnight Fantasy, I believe. So yeah, it's pretty remarkable that it's still being produced, still pretty well liked. I have had some mixed feedback on this. I wore it on a date several years ago, and the person was like, no, I can't stand that. But that person did not generally like fragrance at all. So they were a person who preferred like you not to wear fragrance. And I was wearing this and they're like, that's too much. So if, you know, you come up with fragrance sensitive people, this might not be a good option for those people, or, you know, going on a date with those people. So yes, Midnight Fantasy by Britney Spears. I like it. I think it's you know, a good value, definitely very, very inexpensive for how long it lasts and kind of the quality of the fruity. I like the cherry. I like the cherry and the plum together. The raspberry is subtle. I think it's pretty good. Some people think it's maybe synthetic smelling. Obviously these fruit notes probably are synthetic. So that could be why. But yeah, if you don't mind all of these things and you want to check it out, you're still able to do that. So plum. Happy November, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't. That would be fantastic. And I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.